Welcome to Karibu Anawim's 15 Minutes at Dr. Zayli's Desk special. Join us as we dive into the topics related to living with a facial disfigurement. Whether you're here for yourself, your loved ones, or for educational and professional insights, this is for you. We start our conversation with clear, understandable terminology. While we use disfigurement, it's for medical and legal clarity. We acknowledge you may relate to terms like visible difference or your own diagnoses. All our presenters have lived experience or work with people living with facial disfigurement. Curious to know more? So are we. Pull up a seat, grab a cuppa, and let's chat around the table with Karibu Anawim's 15 Minutes at Dr. Zayli's Desk special.
Hi, and welcome back to a special guest program with Dr. Lise Deguire. I have said her name correctly this time, I think. Now, Dr. Lise, we've had on before. This is part 2, and let me just bring her on right now. Hi, and welcome back, Lise.
Hello. Thank you for having me. It's so nice to be here with you again.
Thank you. Now, last time we chatted about you and the cathartic experience that you had putting these the front cover and the back cover onto your lived experiences of, well, basically your life, really, up until recently, I'd say. Would that be correct?
100%, yes.
Yes. So the beginning and the ending, well, at the of that chapter, sort of thing. And now, Lise, where would you like to go today? What would you like to talk about? Would you like to talk about your family? Would you like to talk about your role as author or a psychiatrist, a psychologist, not psychiatrist, and also, your new modeling career that's just transpired?
Yeah, so that is a crazy thing. I'll just start with that because it's so interesting. So I mentioned last time that I'm doing work with some women who we call ourselves CARD, the Coalition for Authentic Representation of Disfigurement / difference.
Mm-hmm.
And we are doing our best really to make some inroads with the entertainment industry here in the States.
Hollywood, you said.
Hollywood, yeah. Which does tend to use disfigurement as some sort of shorthand to denote either villainy or being
wicked,
pathetic.
evil. Or with your eyes, you're weird kind of thing.
Yeah.
Even especially with Looney Tunes and all that sort of stuff. When they're really angry, they go out on sticks, and then if they're crazy, they've got at least one eye going in circular motion, like kind of thing.
Yes. And there's a long way to go in this process, and I think education is a big part of that. First of all, just educating the general public that this is the way we're being portrayed, and it's prejudicial, and it's wrong, and it's stigma, and inspiring the entertainment industry to do better. Which they've learned a lot about how they represent LGBTQ folk and people of color, and clearly Hollywood knows how to make improvements, and that's the heartening part. They just need to think about it for us too. Anyway, that's been work I've been doing, and as part of that, you start to know people and get connected, and this woman I knew said, "Oh, there's this modeling agency that is looking for models with visible difference." And I thought, oh, It's because it's not just models, it's acting. And I used to act when I was young, and I loved it, honestly. And I wasn't half bad at the time anyway. And as I was really interested, and then I thought, oh, they don't want a model or an actress who's like 61 years old. Like, who wants that? And then I thought, well, but there are models and actresses who are of a certain age. That's a thing. And then I thought, oh, they don't want me. And then I just kept coming back to it, And finally I thought, all right, I'm just going to apply. And so I had my husband take some pictures, and I recorded this video. I sent it in, and it said I'd hear from them in a month, and I didn't. And I thought, oh, well, never mind. I knew it wasn't going to work out anyway. And then 2 months later, I get this thing that they would actually like to sign me. So yeah, I got signed as, and this agency specializes in people who look different. And I just got my first request for a videotaped audition today. So I'm going to record that tomorrow. We'll see what happens.
Oh, exciting. And you've got some modeling pictures up already. I've seen. Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't got them prepared or anything.
Well, I had to go get them taken. I mean, that was a thing too, to do this whole shoot. And actually, I think you might really relate to this. So I had these pictures taken for modeling, and I put them up. And as you say, people, they're nice pictures, and people like them. And a number of people were like writing on Facebook, like, "Oh, you look so lovely. You look so this. You look so that." And I have to tell you, I kept finding myself wanting to say, I mean, I don't really, or I'm not doing this because I think I look pretty, or I'm not about trying to look pretty. And what I realized was that I had been bullied so much as a kid for how I looked that I was worried that if I made it seem like I thought I was pretty, that I would get bullied again. There's
and you're 61 and it's still going on. So this is an ongoing journey, folks. It's never done. There's, all I say is that people are looking, generally, I think people are looking for a Mount Kosciuszko or Mount Everest situation, and then they say, yep, we're done. We've got there. We've done it. We've got the flag, and now we've accepted ourselves, and now it's easy on from then on. But it's ups and downs and ins and outs and roundabouts and going through tunnels and getting really, hard work. Sometimes it's still hard work. Doesn't mean to say that it's all hard work all the time, but when we're wearing it on our face, or we've had our experiences, like you're saying now, that you didn't really, your voices in your head are coming out, and then you're noticing these voices,
Yes.
and what you're saying to yourself. And thank you very much for being so candid. You're noticing these voices and that sort of stuff. Like, at the end of each live that I do, I go back and I record, and I realize that I'm usually not using this side of my face because I can't really do my faces. I think that when I'm looking at the camera, it's reverse, and I get my lefts and rights mixed up at the best of times. So, when I'm looking at myself, I'm bringing my good eye or my good side just slightly, slightly to the front. So I'm just focusing here. So yeah, it is a journey. It is a journey. So
I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. It's all right if I jump in. You're reminding me of another woman I spoke with recently, Sora. Do you know Sora Kasuga?
Yeah.
Lovely, lovely person. And Sora, I don't remember what she deals with medically, but one half of her face is untouched, and the other half of her face is different in some way. And she was saying to me how all her life until quite recently, she only looked at the part of her face that was untouched. And I immediately said, "Oh, Sora, I only look at my face from my mouth up. because it's my lower half of my face that's burned. And it honestly took me a long time to sort of even like look down there. And I'm like, oh yeah, well, that's how that looks,
Yeah, and it's okay, isn't it? It's really hard for people to look in the mirror and want to you know you know acknowledge that part of themselves. For instance, I had a camera that somehow I did a kind of like a selfie, and it mirror imaged my face. So it took my right side and flipped it over to my left side. So I actually had like a pixie nose and two eyes.
Mm.
And it was an amazing shot. It was like, I couldn't have done that again. I don't know how I did it in the first place. But I looked at the picture and I was like, oh, I look weird. I was like literally thinking, I look weird with two eyes open. And then last year, I actually had a photoshopped, an organization photoshopped my eye open. And this was done on their advertisements
Oh,
of
did they
me. Yeah.
did they ask
And
you? Did they say
no,
we?
well, I mean, they didn't ask. They asked, and I agreed to have my pictures shot and taken. Yes, no worries. But had they asked me to Photoshop my eye open, no. And so I sent the picture. And my girlfriend said, "Oh, look, Zaylee, aren't you great? Aren't you wonderful? You've made it. You've made it to their advertisement stuff and that sort of stuff." And I just looked at them and I went, "They've photoshopped my eye, because my eye can't." I like, honest. I don't want to gross other people out, but my eye. I've got my other eye in there. It's
Yeah.
third nerve, so I've got my eye in there. But they had cut and paste this one over to this one,
Wow.
and we were in water. I was in water anyway, so it wouldn't have been unnatural to have had my my eye shut from being splashed or something like that anyway. And she refused to actually agreed with me that was Photoshop. She said, "Oh no, it could have been the angle, because sometimes when you're looking someplace, it looks like it's half open and that sort of stuff." And I said, "No, that's not my eye. That's not the way I look." And I sent the picture to Mum, and she went, "Who's that? It looks like you, but that's not you."
Mm.
And I went, "Yeah, it is me. That's their photo." Anyway, so they agreed that they had actually photoshopped it, and had an apology, but and got an apology. But what really hurt the most was not the fact that it was cut and paste, and not the fact that they didn't, they did the right thing of saying that they apologized. But I said to them, you can get rid of the cellulite on the arms or whatever else. I don't mind, but not the face, not the
Yeah.
face. And I said, you can use my photo. That's fine. You can use my photo, but please don't dock my face, because kids and adults need to know that you're a holistic group. Your organization takes on people living with facial disfigurement, or people with visual difference, visible difference, and all that sort of stuff. And they just flippantly said, "Oh no, we won't be using that photo again." So that hurt more, I think, than them photoshopping and all that sort of stuff, and my friends saying no, and my mother not understanding, "Who's this child? Why are you sending this to me?" Yeah, and it was their nonchalant attitude that I feel was, "Oh no, we're not going to be using that photo or you yourself again."
Oof.
That
Yeah.
really that cut.
Yeah.
Mm.
So the reasons why I was excited to do this whole modeling and acting thing, if I do get the chance to do anything, we'll see, but it was Partly that it would have meant so much to me as a child to see someone who was burned on screen in some way or in a magazine in some way. It would have meant so much. And I think that if the general public has the chance to see someone who's burned in a photo or on screen, stare all you want. I'm not there. You're looking at a picture of me. It's not going to hurt my feelings. Stare at that. And then maybe someday when you run into a person who's burned, you won't feel the need to stare at them. I think it could make such a big difference.
Yeah, getting out there and being seen is what's needed. Yeah, you've reminded me. Let me see how we're going. There was Alim has actually, and it's gone back, would you believe? I have to find it. Alim from the board chair from About Face has actually written a really good post on, and I would like to quote him. Just trying to find it now. I had it already prepped, but it just went.
She did. I know she did. We talked about it.
Yeah. He says, we are instantly noticeable, but we're objects to be stared at. We're not normal, yet we're not different enough to be recognised or protected. Rather, we're nearly normal, he says. Different in a way that is seen but never addressed, that affects our interactions with society deeply, yet is hidden rather than confronted. And so, yeah, I think that nearly normal is probably what we could possibly, hashtag, we're nearly normal. Because for me personally, with living with a facial eye disfigurement, when I say I'm disfigured, people go, no, you're not. I don't see you as disfigured. Why are you disfigured? And I am so close to being normal that I get, suck it up, you bloody, suck it up, mate. It's, there's people worse off than you. Where have you got to do? And then, so, but we're just, but we're not normal enough, and I don't fit into even being visually impaired. We're not, people living with monocular vision we're not disabled, we're not visually impaired, we're not anything. We are, although we can't see on that side and we've got no depth perception, and people are, concerned about whether or not they're going to get a job. And I think stats are like we're 5 times less likely of getting a job, and all that sort of stuff for people living with facial disfigurement. Yeah. So what I get is, suck it up, princess, build a bridge. You are not disfigured. And it's like, well, I wasn't actually born like this. I survived a motor vehicle accident as a newborn in order to look so pretty. And you're so pretty. And I was like, yes, I am pretty. Thank you. But
yeah, it's a weird world that those of us with visible difference live in. And I think, it takes all of our voices, the more we're able. And, of course, a lot of people with visible difference have been traumatized, and you're not in the position to be able to speak much about it yet. I wasn't for a long, long time. But for those of us who can speak and can communicate and who can start to talk about what these experiences are like and advocate for people like us, we need every voice we can.
So what would you like people to take home today, Lise? What's a take home for them? What do you reckon they need to take home from our conversation today?
You mean other than my barking dog? Can you hear my barking dog all the way in Australia right now?
Okay. Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
Maybe the chickens will come in, but nevertheless, they're quiet at the moment.
I think the thing that comes to my mind is that there was a time when I was first burned, and I was so just downright hideous. I was just the most unfortunate, bullied little girl with a terrible family that you would have ever seen. And you would have thought, oh, I hope that girl makes it. And now, many years later, and a lot of work and a lot of therapy and a lot of healing and a lot of effort on my part, I will say that too. Um, I have a great life. I'm a psychologist. I'm an author. I speak all over the country. I'm married. I've got two wonderful, lovely young daughters. The world is my oyster, and I've got many friends and all that. And I guess what I mean to say is that um, you never know how good things can turn out in the long run if you keep trying and you keep going and you get yourself help and you work like a dog and you're nice to people and you're polite and you study hard, like do what you can and you too can, overcome many, many things.
Exactly. But it does take work because people don't realize that sometimes it's quite messy getting back to where you'd like to be. Your goal is, I want to be able to get out into the world. I want to be able to talk my talk. I'd like to be able to walk my walk without being, feeling like I need to shrink away each time someone or get angry and get in their face, depending on how we're feeling about the stares and the avoidance and the rude comments and all that sort of stuff that all of us face. But it takes a mess. We need to work through the mess.
Yes.
Because it's messy. Healing is messy, isn't it?
Yes.
Talking from a psychologist to a counsellor, with a psychologist and a counsellor who we've both done our work. I've done my work too on me. Yeah. And the most cathartic part was for me, Lise, was when I learnt about a particular research on the fact that people stand basically nearly double as far away from a person living with a facial disfigurement than they ordinarily would have been.
Yeah.
So that was the most cathartic part, as well as the fact that there was two. There was that one, and then there was one where it was just released in 2021, I believe. So it's 4 years old, 3 years old now. But they actually did some functional MRIs and realised that people do have an implicit negative bias towards people living with facial disfigurement. So on paper we can write, yes, we do the PC thing, but when actually we're faced with in a functional MRI and our brains lighting up different areas, they found, it's my turn now. Huh? They found that we have a negative bias.
Yes.
An
Yes.
implicit negative bias towards people living with facial disfigurement. So we've got to get through that, in order to be able to, we need to combat that in order for people to see who we are. And that shouldn't be a thing, but it just is currently. And I'm thanking you for doing wonderfully well at Hollywood and getting out there in showing the world your face and your body, your beautiful, glamorous body.
About that, but okay.
Well, I looked at the pictures and it's beautiful.
Yeah, you remember this.
I'm doing it again. See? Oh, dear me. Mm.
Oh, well, thank you so much. It's been so nice to talk with you, and
Yeah.
I wish you ever the best down there, and it's good to know you and to be, friends on this journey.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for staying with us. And thank you very much for listening to us. It's just gone overboard, but that's okay. That's what we do sometimes. I'm your host, Dr. Zaylee O'Day, and I'm signing off. Thank you very much to Dr. Lise. And I'm going up here, tracking up, and I'm stopping the recording. Bye-bye.
By golly gosh, it's the end of Karibu Anawim's 15 Minutes at Dr. Zaylee's Desk special. And that's a wrap for this episode. Thanks for tuning in. Please remember that all information given during this episode is for general application only. If you have any specific medical issues, as always, consult with your medical practitioner. Like, subscribe, and share on whatever platform you find us on. For more information, please connect with Karibu Anawim on our website at karibuanawim.com or email us at inquiries@karibuanawim.com.